Hi, I'm Dominic. Thanks for watching Dominic's Woodworks. And you probably won't hear that introduction anymore in my project videos because, well, the audience retention, as it's called in YouTube, is important, meaning how long you watch a video. So I think 50% is a good average, so if half your viewers watch the whole video and the rest doesn't at all, it's math. But the higher this value, the better, and you need to hook people early on. So the introduction, hi, I'm Dominic Bender, and so on. I'm Dominic, that's what I say these days. That are seconds lost to hooking people, so I think I'll start, or I have actually started in editing for that. I think I'll start to just jump right in it. What I will do is I'll have my name pop up somewhere here, and probably I'll try to come up with something witty as a subtext, or subtitle rather. So that's one thing. And I thought I'll try to give the Shoptalk a little more structure, so we'll start off with what I'm doing, or what I have been doing this week in my shop. And then, well, I got some, actually I wanted to mention the intro thing then in the section where I talk about stuff, and I haven't done that, so. And then I have two videos this week that I wanted to share. The main thing that I'm working on is the 2x4 competition project, and with all the confidentiality agreements and so on, and to keep the surprise to a maximum, this is all that I can actually show you. Sorry, you just have to wait. So, what else have I ever been working on? Yes, still working on the Dream Shop initiative, and it sounds so grand and great and doing that a lot. Initiative. I'm not making as much progress as I had hoped, but I'm not working on it full shop time, so that's probably to be expected. One thing that I did, maybe you remember these drawer-like thingies or boxes or whatever. They had this lip here up front, and I just drilled two holes here, took a jigsaw and cut it out. Reason for that is I want to put this in a shelf that I have right behind you, and if I put it in like they were, I found those in the attic a while back. I don't actually know where they came from, but with this lip here and another one right on top, I have this much space to put stuff in, and this lip was, it's not high, but I can't really put my finger on it, but it's just got in the way, and it made the opening too small, and it was not that much fun to work with. There's one, for example. This one, as you can see, this piece that I have here, there's this room underneath, and it props the whole thing up, and I think I might also cut off a little bit here to even further enhance this gap. I got a few of those. I think there's some on this workbench down under, probably 8 or 9. I hope to get as many of them into the shelf you just saw and use them for project storage. I could just put another shelf in there, but it's a special metal system for heavy-duty stuff, or so it's called, and I have these laying around. And what I also might do is try to adopt the workplace philosophy to those, maybe stack two on top of each other, use the bottom one for project storage, because most of my surfaces are taken up by things that are just stacked there, and they belong to a project that I'm currently not working on. So if I have a place to put those and possibly separate different projects, like with these, that would be great. I want to use them, and I don't actually want to reclaim them, as in cut them apart and use them for something else, or maybe do that to one or two, but I have that many and I want to put them to use, because I think they can be of use. So, another thing I did this week, I have this problem that well, on the one hand I start projects and I don't get them finished, but on the other hand I have projects that I start and finish, but I don't get around to doing the intro and the outro, and they're just sitting there. So this week I think I did 3 intro-outro combos, and I don't know whether I'll just dish them out all 3 at once. I don't think that'll be the best idea, but I think it'll help me keep up a regular pace. I don't want to call it a schedule because that's not my thing. But I'm happy to get some of these older projects out of the way, so to speak. On the subject of sharing, which I mentioned last week, the majority of the feedback was that I should mention those videos that I found inspiring. And again, I want to emphasize, if I don't mention your video or any other video, that doesn't mean that I didn't like it. Maybe I didn't see it, although I try to watch all of them, or all those that I know of. But I just have to make a choice, and so I made it. This week I have 2 videos, but before we get to that, there's another thing I wanted to mention, and I don't know, I don't think it's that kind of a public subject, but there's AdSense, you know, showing ads on YouTube videos. On the one hand, there's the subject of ad blockers, and I have used them for many years, and I still use them, but I whitelisted YouTube for the main reason of being kinda selfish. I want to get at least a little bit of AdSense revenue, so I don't want to take that revenue away from others, and it is my understanding that the ad blocker does that, although of course it's within your decision, or it's your freedom to do so. I just want to mention that in case you didn't know, and many creators, they, of course, I don't think anyone lives by AdSense alone, but it's a way to get a little bit of compensation for all the expense in the shop. My actual point on this subject is, do you watch the ads, or maybe do something else while they run, or do you skip them? Personally, I skip over the upfront ones, but I took to leaving the bottom ones open, because I don't know when the creator in question gets paid. So do they pay for every time the ad shows up, no matter how long, or do they get paid for, let's say, a minimum of 30 seconds or whatever? I just don't know what counts as a view, and so in an attempt to support other creators, meaning it doesn't cost me anything, I decided to leave those ads open. I just run into a problem with subtitles, which I usually don't use, but let's say hard-coded text in the video. If it's in this section, then I have to either miss it, or I will miss it, or I have to click away the ad, and maybe someone out there can help me. Is that actually something that benefits other creators? It's just my way of trying to show support, and maybe it's something to think about. Maybe not. So, the videos to share this week. Like I said, I have 2. One is by Nighthawk in Light. He does cool, not actually woodworking, it's more on the experimental building kind of side. What I actually want to recommend this time, or the actual video, is about noise cancelling earplugs. He says it's the best kind that he found, and I think in theory, his theory sounds sound. I haven't tried it yet, but I intend to, but first I have to figure out why my Bluetooth earpieces are so quiet. I usually can hardly hear the sound anyway. So that's an interesting video for you to check out, and the other is by Scroller Girl. She does pretty amazing stuff on the scroll saw, doing bowls and whatnot, and she had some tips on designing and actually making these bowls. The idea for that is you have a board, and with the scroll saw and the table tilted, you cut this board at an angle in a circle, and it's not really mere gestures. Well, check out the video. The idea is you chose the angles appropriately, and then you have these rings that you can stack on top of each other and make pretty amazing bowls. Not only round ones, but also oval, or, well, the possibilities, if you know what you're doing, are nigh limitless, so I find it pretty inspiring to see what you can do. Problem is, I have a scroll saw which can't tilt. At least not without bending the frame. So I have some ideas to still use the same technique, but I'm not certain how. It's still a video worth checking out. So that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed the shop talk, and another thing I forgot to mention, and this video is getting awfully long at this point, but I'm trying to... No, I'm not trying. I'm starting an email newsletter because I have this feeling that sometimes the YouTube feed doesn't reach everyone, and maybe it's a feature some of you would be interested in, so head over to my homepage where you can subscribe to it, and I'll do a German and an English version to keep them separate. So, well, that's that. Thanks for watching, thank you for subscribing if you're considering it, and remember to be inspired. And, oh, important stuff at the end.